have a little provocative discussion probably now, so I will provocate because this morning I was using Google News, and probably somebody was listening our lesson yesterday, and so the whole EU is complaining about Google. That means Trubel by Google, that means trouble by Google, and Die Welt is a German newspaper, and that was this morning in the newspaper, because the EU is afraid that the people Google is using, for example, data from Google Mail, from YouTube, and what you're searching at Google, and nobody knows what they are doing with your behavior. Yeah, so it's just to inform you what we say yesterday. We have trusted partners, and we have partners who have a lot of traffic, and that you don't have to comment on that. It's just for the audience. So now we can switch to your presentation.
Thank you for this introduction. Now I have an easy job, I guess, huh? Yeah, welcome. I'm a little bit excited to speak to you. Normally I'm even more excited, but the last 3 days showed me that you are very open to the things that happen right now in the world. We had a lot of speeches about the mobile revolution, about apps. Yesterday even we saw that the online hosts are really forward-looking to the changes and are aware of the changes. So somehow I was thinking tonight or last night I should party more with you guys because my speech now, like the missionary part of it, is not needed for you guys, because I think you are really aware of what's going on outside. So what I want to talk about a little bit is my experience with these, I call it third industrial revolution, that goes on right now. And if my presenter is working, yes. Normally the printing press comparison comes up now, but I just choose some other stuff to like make a little introduction. So like 2000, like since we can think, or we try to send us messages, we try to communicate. Now we're doing it with email, of course, since 20 years, more than 20 years. We use Twitter, we use other services. This thing is like our telephone thing. It's like 120 years old that we, as like the human civilization, is possible to talk to each other. And now we are talking like me, I'm with my daughter over FaceTime, Skype. She can even open Skype and switch on the camera. She's 6. Same thing here with radio, 100 years old. I'm using Spotify, not Pandora. It's an internet radio. I just pay €20 a month and I have access to all the music in the world. This is how it is today. TV the same. We are all waiting for Apple to bring out TV. Nobody knows if they're working on it. I think they're working on it. I'm showing here my Apple TV I own myself. So I'm using 2 Netflix. This is, I think, 80 years old that we invented TV. And now we're having it over internet too. So there is really an industrial revolution. These things are getting faster and faster. Apple introduced the computer in '84. The personal computer. We had like the online hosts are much older, I know this. And now I think 28 years later, tablet, yeah? Also I think we have a lot of iPads even here in the room. '84, I was not really aware of what's going on because I was behind the Iron Curtain and I was too young. I was 12. But like '91, it happens that this guy sent this email. I printed out to you. This is Linus Torvalds. It's really just '91. And I got the first diskette set in these days, and we tried to play around with these new free operating system. Before we had just Microsoft DOS. And the next thing happened also in these days where I started my career around '90. Tim Berners-Lee, after a long period of a lot of research, finally pressed the button to the start of the World Wide Web in '90. It's just 22 years ago. Just 22 years ago. Yeah. So the third industrial revolution, in my opinion, is really fast taking over and changing the world as we know it today. Click, click. You have to go away, Tim. Yes. because I want to now tell you a little bit more. I have to watch the time because it's the first time that I make this speech, so timing is a little bit difficult. 5 minutes, wonderful. I was mentioning that I was grown up behind the Iron Curtain in East Germany in a small village. And I was really lucky in '87 because there was a truck between, like, I think the transit Autobahn, and there was a box falling down, and this was a West German computer. My father got hold of him. He paid 50,000 East Mark to get it for his cooperative farm in our village, because he was the boss and the controlling. So I had a little bit an advantage of around 2 years, yeah, in front of the other 16 million East Germans. Who had not access to this technology. I think this is one of the reasons that I'm here. I come to this a little bit later too. But what happened to '89, like 2 years later, I started to work with this computer. SuperCalc was great. I really love Excel today still because of this experience. The wall came down and everything changed. This computer costs 90. I bought the same computer for myself. It cost 200 Westmark. The same thing that happened. My father lost his job, so but what I gained was really freedom. You know, I went to West Germany immediately and started. And I wanted to know how to like how the capitalism is working. You know, so I went to Leer, to Ostfriesland, and started to work in a saving bank. And this brought me 95. To be an IT consultant, because in these golden days and golden times, you know, if you knew how to spell computer, you got a job. It was really like this. They paid me a good money, and I started to create a data center in the Nord-LB. It's a Landesbank, a huge saving bank in Hanover. And '97, I founded my company, we created the data center in a networked way, because we just, like, I hired all my friends, everybody who knows to spell computer too, and but the growth was so extraordinary that we had to work with other companies in a networked environment together. So I think 2001 we were 110 people, and then happened the next curious thing. So networked working, IBM took over the whole Nord-LB, and in 2005 we were 12 again. Yeah, so an interesting experience. It's part of my history. Maybe you will understand a little bit later what I'm talking about now. So in 2005, I pressed the restart button, and I started consulting Bundesdruckerei and German Patent and Trademark Office, and we took over DEPA-ROM. Does know anybody the DEPA-ROM, like the German patents on CD? Because the Bundesdruckerei said, "Boh, we don't make money on it, we don't like it, it's not the future, like, I want to, like, cancel all the contracts." I was there in these days, and I took over because I said, no, don't cancel business, you know, like, if there is a little bit money, maybe I'm, like, producing it cheaper. So I tried this. I needed 3 years to understand how this works, why our clients are paying us. 3 years. And these were really hard years, like, to find out what this is and how this works. We still have DEPA-ROM. It has still the same revenue. And I was really happy. Thomson Reuters still sends out a lot of papers throughout Germany. You know, they do the same a little bit. So it's really like both I am. That's what I try to show you. But what happened too is that and that brings me to this picture, got really burned out in these days. I worked really hard. I was fresh married, I was a father, so I had a company to restart, and I found a relief in these really bad situations, in this burnout, in meditation. So I started to read books about meditation, and they talk about a lot of, like, everybody is with everything connected. Yeah, they talk about that, like, in one thing is everything, and you see here a water drop where, like, the whole sky is, you can see in a single water drop the whole sky. These were pictures of these meditation stuff who helped me out of this personal crisis. And in these days, 2008, happened another thing. Social networks came up. And I used Twitter, I started to use Facebook, and I saw that it's really true what Buddha said 2,500 years. Because we are connected. if we use these tools in the internet. So I went really deep into this social networking sphere, and in like Bag 88, I learned if you have a problem, you can create a job out of it. And in 2008, I went one step further and I said, if you solve the problem, start talking about it. So that's also a reason why I'm here, because I love to talk about what happened after 2008 with me and with my company. Time check. Yes, wonderful. Because what happened was that I went into all these services and I started to get immediately consulting jobs. The first one here, Valerie is sitting here, and I think 10 IPO guys we got the task to try to understand if we can move Espasnet into Amazon Web Services. I had to admit we did not know a lot about Amazon Web Services before, but we learned it really very fast. And the second thing what happened, we started to get other consulting jobs in industries because I started talking about these things. And now I'm a little bit into these things because this is something what's going on right now, the Internet of Things, the next revolution. I see that all these little devices like our iPhone gets a lot of like they are location aware, they can talk to the internet, they can talk with each other. So if you're interested where I'm now, right now, I'm in the Internet of Things right now. But to find the way back to my presentation, I was all into cloud in these days. So yeah, yes, I wanted to introduce myself. Right now, what I'm doing today is we are 60 people in Berlin. I'm all in cloud with the company. We have an internal Facebook, like our own hosted Facebook system. I'm living in Istanbul. So half of my months I'm in Istanbul. I'm working in Berlin, I always say. So these new tools really industrialized and changed the way I'm working. And that's why I think I can a little bit talk about this to you. And I want to show you a little bit the lessons learned, and I give you some examples how I see we could maybe translate current social websites into the patent world. Yeah? This is what I'm going to do now in the 17 minutes I see. Wonderful. Okay. Click. I did click. Yes. I read a lot Jeremy Rifkin, or read a lot Jeremy Rifkin. He said, and in the preparation of this talk, networks' way of doing business challenge orthodox market assumptions about self-interest. Yeah? So if you are in a networked environment connected to everybody, it's really challenging, like these Thomson Reuters is just doing it to make money. You know, this is what I'm talking about here. And what I see is that if you are open, and if you are trying to be a platform, and if you are rethinking your services in the way social networks are doing it, yeah, this will lead you, I don't know, to how can I say it? Restart. One thing's, okay. I take another detour a little bit. What I understood with these trying to adopt social networks into my company, into my clients, into my personal life, I needed to be more open. This is a good thing, I guess. Yeah? I needed to be more open. I needed to be more a platform, and I needed to be more like what service I can do. You use your social networks, or you use the internet to industrialize yourself first. This is the first step what you're doing. And the second step would be to think about like, what can you do with your customers? And this brings me to these collaboration thing, what I said, in a networked environment, co-creation, like Article 1 partners, like Blue Patent in Berlin, like the peer review initiatives, like what the IPO is doing with the translation services, with Google. These are all like co-creation, crowdsourcing initiatives that right now take place. And I think you guys should look at these things open, as I said, and look and try to understand what's happened there. And the last point here is Maker Movement. And Maker Movement was a great article I found a couple weeks ago where somebody said that right now we can address markets of 10,000s with these new tools that were never addressable like without these tools. Markets of 10,000 are too big for individuals, but too small for companies, except some of you. Sorry, little joke. Because I heard that we just have in these range customers, some of the online house, and we live from it. But what happened now is that single persons or small groups, startups, entrepreneurs can attack your business because they have the tools available. They can use cloud computing technologies, they can use social networks to reach out to customers, and they can do the same what like maybe you did a long time or needed a long time to create and to build up. And this is something you have to be aware of, yeah? That this goes on and happens now. And the last, one of the drivers of this third industrial revolution is, in my opinion, I'm an IT guy, it's really cloud computing what drives this. In the older speech I'm using to explain and to compare it to electricity, cloud computing. Yeah? In my village, we had these big electricity engines connected with these wires to certain machines. And these are all gone because it's like the electricity engines, the motors, I call it, are like now in every small device. You can go to a construction company and like you don't need these big things. And this decentralization of power, I call it like general purpose here, the down sync. What happened there is that the same happens with our IT. Like the mobile revolution, you can compare like that everybody has an iPhone and is doing more and more with it. It's like the same what happened, I think, like 50 years ago with all the electricity engines. You know, they just disappeared because it's much more efficient to do these things like in data centers, what we are doing right now. And because you can use the power wherever you need it. And this happens with computing power right now. You use the computing power wherever you need it. You don't have to go to your desk to use the power. You don't have to create a huge data center before to use computing power. You know, I go to Amazon Web Services, start, I don't know, 100 of servers right now with a finger click, and I pay with my Amazon account. And this was never possible before. And this is somehow the same what happened in my village. You know, you needed a huge investment to use electrical power, and today you don't need this anymore. Yeah, you buy small devices that are really mobile. So, what about patent information? How does it fit in? So I told you I want to give you some examples how I think how they fit in. Yeah, you want to do it? You want to look at some examples how I think this? Oh shit! This is in networked optimizing the interest of others increases your own assets and value. This is what I can really say from my own experience. Yeah, if you think about others, it really increases your own value. So if you think about your customers and how you can increase their value, then there is a future in these networked environments for you guys. Yeah, this is like, for me, the second part. After you optimize yourself, after you use all these techniques, you have to think how your customers are using these techniques. Second step is to industrialize the life and the work with your customers. So the first example I wanted to do is search. And because you said something bad about Google, I maybe guessed it, so I didn't use Google.
Not bad, it was only in the newspapers.
I used Espasnet as an example, because this is there, this is free, this is for me somehow the most used, as I can believe you, EPO guys, the most used free source of patent information in the world right now. Maybe Google Patents get some space, but still a lot of people are using it. And we translated this into this. It should look like Google. Yeah? We just made a screen draft and we said like this, how it should look as BusNet. The same thing happens with here. Look at these things. This is only for professionals. This is really, you need trainings. You have online e-learning stuff. You really have to educate your users to use this. This is not how it should be right now. These things look like this. You know, then my father can use it and can look at it. He is not scared of what complicated things going on. This, I would recommend the EPO should do it. I recommend this since 2 years. They don't listen to me, but maybe. I heard something that they work on an app right now too. The next example I wanted to give you, like how I think we should rethink and reinvent our business is in the field of curation. Maybe you heard about Pinterest already? It's right now number 4 of traffic in the web. Like we have still Google number 1, direct traffic number 2, third Facebook, sorry. Facebook, direct traffic, Google, and then Pinterest. Pinterest was not existing 2 years ago. Like, it's amazing. Not existing 2 years ago. Mostly used of women, so single men go there. It's really like 65% still more using it of women, these things, and it's 5,000% growth since last year. 5,000% growth since last year. They use a really clean design. What they do is just content curation, like via masses. Like millions of people just do content creation. They don't get paid for it. And the Pinterest guys like give back these content curated stuff to the world, you know, because now you have curated lists. As a social collaboration and subscription are 2 other things that are happening there. Social collaboration is like, it's deeply social. These things, this sharing is like, it's a Facebook for pictures in one way. And subscription models is you can follow people really easily. And I think we should use Click. Yes. This is like one of my boards here. So I go there and I collect all the patent information stuff I find. You know, and this is how it looks. Really clean. It's all like curated by me. If I find a picture, I repin it. It's like a bookmarking service for me. So, and you can like follow my board if you're interested. If I find a new infographic or a new article, you will get an update, a small notification in wherever you are, into Facebook or wherever you want it. And what I did with my guys in the office is I said, like, let's translate Pinterest, like if we just do it for patents. Yeah? So we sat down and we said, like, it should work. Like the EPO guys should not stop, or you, online hosts, should not stop what you have. You should like use these mechanics too. Because what you get is, you get a much broader audience. You know, because in my opinion, you are able to access masses. What you gain, I don't know, because I'm not really can look into the future. Yeah, but this is what we tried to show you. Like you could make boards and could use the same mechanics and Pinterest in the patent world. Yeah, this is how I think should look like something for the new generation, for the growing generation. So the next example I found, it's a little bit a very smaller one. It's about commodities, how to make money in these times. This is a question everybody has. And I run over Gumroad. It's not so popular. It's like a really small service right now. But what he's doing is, if you have a link, and behind this link is something valuable for somebody else, you could share it and get money out of it, out of a single link. Yeah? A lot of you guys have like these open access databases already. So I could take some links out of you, put it there, and put a €2 sign on it if like a query, a hit list, a patent collection is like valuable for others too. Yeah? Maybe not in my team, but outside my team, some people would pay me if I really work hard on a good query for some really weird technology stuff. Yeah? So it's that simple and friction-free. So this is how it looks. You put in a name for the thing, you put an URL, you put a price, you say add, and others can buy it. That's it.
Arne, 5 minutes?
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm good in time. So this is how it works, you know. You just register, you put in a link, you put in a price, you press add, and others can buy it. If your patents, your services are so easy accessible, I think there will be growth. This is one of my, like, how I think, yeah? What I see. A lot of designers are actually using it to sell their artworks, like little icons or other stuff, or even infographics. Yeah? There are other micropayment stuff outside, but this is the one I like most because it's absolutely simple, and in my opinion, this is the future, or these kind of services are the future. So we tried to translate it. It was not so easy, a little bit, but we tried hard to make like, okay, you type in a link, you found somewhere a patent, you put it in, we get some information from the patent, click, and we got this right now from Google Patents, and then you can maybe download, you can send it somewhere, and we didn't put a price tag on it. This was too obvious because I would use Gumroad to do it, so I don't need this. Yeah? But for the retrieval of the information behind, we were thinking we can maybe do this in this way. So the last example in the last 4 minutes is about collaboration, and this is something we use in our company almost daily. It's a super fast, easy to use project management online tool. Yeah? You have full control who sees what, if you trust Basecamp, of course. Otherwise, it's really easy to invite people outside your organization. So if you think about in your organization, you have project management tools. If you work with external consultants like me, how easy is it to give me access to your tools? Think about it. Is it hours? Is it days? Or is it more weeks? In my opinion, it's more weeks in big companies. Like it's weeks before I can start working. Yeah? Before I can collaborate with you guys in the industry. So what a lot of people are doing is they set up a Basecamp, they go in there, and they work together without their company IT. You know? So this is what happened. 8 million people are using this right now. They say it's around like 9,000 companies are using this. Really look at the company blog. The founders are fantastic people. They talk a lot about it. So what we were thinking is, this is how it looks like. Add to-do list, catch up, invite more people is here. So easy. Click on it, give an email address, and the people are invited and can work. They can set up their environment, password, and start working with it. And we did this too. So we translated this somehow into the patent world, and we said, if we take these design principles, these working principles, maybe the future looks like this. Yeah? Or, in my opinion, should look like this. So you have the same principles used in Basecamp, used for working on hit lists. This is the business what Deparum or Profil is doing. The patent professionals are working like through every week, hundreds, 500 patents, and they share it with their colleagues, but it's really hard for them to get people invited. If there are new R&D researchers going and working on it, it's really a problem. So let's take these principles out and adapt it into the patent world. This is my suggestion. So, yes. So a patent should look like, here again, share button, star button. Okay. I'm coming to my conclusion now, or to the Fazit. And I don't know this guy, but what he said I like. Yeah? I hope a little bit I opened up your perception. I like maybe took a little bit away of some prejudices you have and show you like open up a little bit. Yeah? Because you don't fail because you choose the wrong course. Just because you cannot imagine another one, a better one, you will fail, if you fail. Klick, 2 Folien habe ich noch. Genau. Patent authorities, information provider, and patent professionals should understand that patents are per default social data. I was thinking that like in a patent you have these assignees, you have a lot of people working on a patent, and all these people are in Facebook, are using social media, and they cannot talk about their work. And if they love their work, they want to talk about it. And today they cannot. So understand that a single patent, a structure, a reaction is a social object that needs to be shared, that needs to be commented on, that needs to be liked, that needs to be in the internet openly. Yeah? Oh, I'm finished, my time says. But I have only one slide. The future of patent information is outside of this room. This is the last slide. It's about how easy it will be, like how easy your solutions will be for amateurs. Yeah? Otherwise, you will be in your walled garden talking to each other, trying to make money with each other. That's fine. That's worked. And that will still work. But I think growth is in the outside of our world. There is the growth if we find people. So, and the last slide. I have to optimize this. Yes. Back to my little meditation. Your time is limited. Don't waste it. Live somebody else's life. Thank you very much for your attention.
Yes, I thank you. I just want to show you something. Can you just show this one? I'm a fan of Arne because I'm reading his blog to learn every day something about his new sites he's looking for, and I try to live what I say. And he's writing every day a blog, so 2 pages, 3 pages. And even yesterday, he was joining our conference, and then he told me he must work on his presentation. And there he was still writing his blog. It's in German, but I can really recommend it to everybody who is able to read German. And so it's my daily paper, what I'm reading about what's going on in the IT world. And so thank you for that.
Yes, you can follow me on Facebook, on Twitter, on everywhere. Like where you find Herr Krueger, please add me. I would love to keep in contact with you, even after the show.
And that's why I invited him, because I think, well, sometimes it's very good if you know somebody who's living a little outside of your world, because we can learn or we cannot learn. Are there any questions from the audience? Yeah, there's from Alex from Böhringer, there's a question. I'm today responsible for everything.
Thank you, Arne, and thank you, Christoph. I have no question, I have only one comment. Rendell, yesterday I was smiling when Rendell gave yesterday the presentation regarding the dinosaurs and the superhero. Arne, I think you are definitely not a dinosaurus, you are a superhero. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Even if I still sell CDs, yeah?
Yeah, there's another question from Merck. So on the left side, I can go to this way, so that we are still in time.
I can come here to answer, yeah.
Thank you, Gracia Mardi Merck Sarono. Thank you, Arne. Very interesting talk. I just wondered when you said access, you know, got to give all this access to people outside of our world. Yeah, this is great, but then would these people understand our world? Because, you know, patent documents are written in legalese, in this special language. And I'm just wondering how you think people outside of our world will cope with it, how they'll be able to actually understand it. Yeah, this is the main. And also, what's the address of his blog, please?
Yeah, wonderful question. The first, what came up was, my start in IT business was training. So I started to give trainings about Word, Army Pro, about database programs. And my father was never trained on Facebook. He just uses it as it is. Because they obviously found a way that like you see and you can use it without needing training. So what we have to think and what we have to do is we have to rethink our application development that it does not need training. Training-free software. This is one like one thing we have to do. So throw away all the complicated screens and all the stuff, make it that simple, and what helps is think mobile first. So if it's working on a mobile phone, then it's so simple that everybody can understand it, in my opinion. If just you, like the EPO, it's not like you can open websites on the phone, that's not what I'm talking about. You have to think how you can deliver value on a mobile phone. And of course, patents are written in complicated language, you said, yeah? So they try to hide the invention, so they try to run away from the deal. I disclose the invention to the public, and because I disclose it in hopefully an easy language so that everybody, the public, can understand it, I get the protection. I get the monopoly. Yeah? And a lot of people say, no, 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 I want the monopoly, but these disclosures thing I don't like so much. You know? So, of course, yes, there's misuse a lot, and there is also because of these, we were only in the professional world, like we were only the professionals with each other. We were not thinking that we are so connected in this industry, you know? But now, at least I realize that we are connected with the rest of the world, so we have to find ways how we can deliver our like professionalism, our knowledge to the outside world. This is a little bit long answer, but maybe some, how you call, inspirations, yeah? Yes, of course. That's what I'm trying. These things are not real existing. These are just screenshots, what I showed you, for instance. Yeah.
Actually, I want to close the discussion, but there's still from Richard one question or remark from LexisNexis. So I'm come. Just wait.
Oh, in the meantime, my blog. Yes, herrkrueger.de. herrkrueger.de. And it's just German, I'm sorry. I always sometimes, but Google Translate is working quite well.
Arne, again, thank you. Fascinating presentation. And actually, I thought the penultimate slide was what pulled it all together for me. I was wondering where it was going to end up. And that was giving amateurs access. And actually, I think that the answer to Grace's question is that by putting this data out in the way that you're suggesting, okay, it is complex, it is scientific, it is legal, but there are 6 billion people out there who can reinterpret it and tell you what it means. And so they can demystify it for you. And so it really is about leveraging that network to make sense of, as you say, complicated data.
I get goosebumps. Thank you very much.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. Thank you.
My answer is, like, we can access and talk to these like 2 billion who are connected in the internet, and everybody of these 2 billion is expert in something. Everybody of these 2 billion is expert in something, and you can access these expert knowledge. You know, you guys are expert in like patents, and there are so many other experts outside, you know? So this is, thank you very much. Wonderful.
Okay, I think we have to give a special applause to Mr. Krueger.